Hey everyone, thank you for taking the time to watch our PROSeries monthly webinar by Protect. The PROSeries content is designed to bring new ideas, strategies, and understanding of topics to help ensure people and processes are safe, equipment is reliable, and companies remain compliant with applicable regulatory jurisdictions. To ask a question, please click the Q&A icon at the bottom of the screen to type your questions. We'll answer them as they come, or we'll hold them to the end of the call. My name is Nathan Vandergreen, CEO of Protect, and I will be your host for today. We have a great topic to share with you today that we believe you will see as meaningful with regards to advanced non-destructive testing services. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Jeremy Howard, our Vice President of Advanced NDT here at Protect. Jeremy, can you take a moment to give a brief snapshot of your background, please?
Certainly. As you said, my name is Jeremy Howard. I joined the team here at Protect in October of 2022. Throughout my career, I've done quite a bit of level 3 work. Been a certified level 3 in multiple methods since 2009. I've been in the field for a little over 25 years, both with field inspection experience and management experience. A lot of the work that I've done is in-service work, new fabrication, new construction. I've done work in the manufacturing industries, worked in industries such as biofuels, LNGs, oil and gas, upstream, midstream, and downstream sectors, petrochemical, worked with aerospace and defense and power generation. Over the course of my career, I've been involved in implementing critical inspection plans at various stages of life for different components and materials. And I worked with many of the leaders and experts throughout industry with, when it comes to implementing new NDE technology and continual improvement of the technology that we have. Here at Protect, I get to work directly with our customers to make sure that we have the right solution for their needs, whether it's, looking for the correct inspection method, looking for solutions in, difficult to work in environments. Ultimately, we get to look at the overall inspection plan and make sure that we have what they need to meet the end goal.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Jeremy. Maybe to start off, can you explain what NDE methods are included in advanced services and what exactly determines what is an advanced NDT technique versus a conventional technique?
Yeah, certainly. So we have a variety of advanced techniques here at Protect. We have, radiographic techniques, computed radiography, digital radiography, real-time radiography. We have ultrasonic techniques that could be AUT corrosion mapping and material inspection, phased array, time of flight, guided wave testing. We also do 3D laser mapping. We have a couple of different systems for that. We do eddy current testing, from surface techniques to different varieties of tube testing. That also includes eddy current array, RFT array, NFT array, pulsed eddy current, and MFL inspections. When it comes to looking at advanced techniques and what really determines what an advanced technique is, there are a few factors that we take into consideration, but there's really two main factors that we think about. One is what additional training is required beyond the conventional technique. And number two is really how is the data saved and transferred to our customers. Is, if we're just going out doing a regular conventional technique, typically we'll do the technique, might take a couple of pictures, submit a report. With an advanced technique, there's a lot more involved. We have data to back up those findings. That data can be reviewed by us and the customer. So, we consider things like that when we're looking at the conventional techniques versus advanced techniques.
Perfect. Jeremy, many of our customers currently use some version of NDT methods as part of their current inspection programs, a lot of them being conventional still at this point. Can you tell us some of the advantages of the advanced techniques versus the conventional ones that our customers and the listeners may employ today?
Certainly. So there are definite advantages when looking at advanced techniques, and really that just comes with technology and the amount of information that we gain from the inspections. Overall, advanced techniques have been found to be more reliable than conventional techniques just because of advancements in instrumentation, the way the information is acquired and gathered, and the improvements in the inspection data itself. We found increases in probability of detection. A lot of times, the inspections that we perform can be repeated, and the data itself can be stored for long periods of time. That data can be transferred among multiple people. If you have an end user that needs it, if you've got to send it to somebody overseas, it's available to send to them. That's really one of the big benefits of it, right? If you look at a conventional technique, sometimes you don't have the data available, years later. With advanced techniques, everything is digital. Everything can be saved, until you basically just get rid of the files. So it's available for long-term storage, and you can always go back and take a look at it and compare it to current results if that's what you need to do.
It seems almost like relating it to the medical field, right? It used to get an X-ray. It was a sheet of film that they used to show you under a light, and if you've had any kind of those things lately, it's been more digitized, and or even an MRI is maybe a more of a example of what would be considered advanced today, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So great. Well, thanks for that, Jeremy. Can you share some examples of industries where advanced NDE is used?
Certainly. Yeah. So NDE is really used all over the place, multiple industries. So just some of the more common industries for what we deal with. We use NDE in the oil and gas industry, power and energy sectors, petrochemical, LNG sector, aerospace and defense, automotive, manufacturing, pulp and paper, storage facilities. The good thing about advanced NDE is that we can utilize it almost anywhere, really depending on the application and what the customer's need is. So
I think really the next thing to consider is, can you share some examples of common applications where advanced NDE is utilized?
Sure. So really, the most common use of advanced NDE is really going to be with our weld inspections. It's really common to do weld inspections of new construction, existing in-service welds. It's very, very common for us to use it there. We do a lot of inspections on piping and vessels, both new and existing assets. And a large portion of the work that we perform is done during the manufacturing process prior to putting anything into service. Another really common use for us is in-service inspections, whether it's material degradation or corrosion mapping, trying to find any issues with the assets and looking at the integrity of the equipment. We can perform high-level inspections on anything that may be prone to issues such as HTHA, HIC, SOHIC, stress corrosion cracking, MIC, anything that has known issues or a history of issues. We can actually inspect those materials and see how that material is coming along throughout the service life. The information that we gain from that is also useful when it comes to fit for service and RBI. So we can take the information that we gain, work with our MI groups, and perform risk-based inspections or fit for service, and just to see can this asset continue to operate. In addition to the weld inspections and the in-service inspections, we also perform inspections on things like aerospace components, rail cars, facility structures, storage tanks, manufacturing materials and components, And one of the, something that's really become common here lately is a HDPE piping. We can do code-based inspections. We can do informational in-service inspections. Each one of those is different in what's required and really what the expectations are for the work. And a lot of the work that we perform is done in conjunction with other groups within our organization. So we work closely with, mechanical integrity, NDE services, pipeline integrity groups, and we make sure that we can support ongoing projects that they have going on. We talked a minute ago about in-service and code required inspections. So when it comes to code required inspections, a common question that we get is, can we perform work to a specific specification? And there are different requirements for everything. What we see on the screen right now is really just a list of some of the codes that we commonly work to. Just to give you an example, ASME Section 8 Division 1 and Division 2 are entirely different in what's required from an inspection standpoint. So when we're dealing with code required inspections, we really have to think about what the inspection is going to require. And that's really where we come in and we're able to help the customer understand what they need to do to be code compliant. Whether it's the equipment and material types that we need to look at, what calibration blocks may be required, the duration of the inspection and timeline to complete the inspections. We give good information on that. The type of data that's required, the overall acceptance criteria. Are we required to have a procedure qualification or, technical performance demonstration? Is work location going to be an issue? Work within the proximity of others, is that going to be an issue? Are there any environmental concerns? And do we have any safety hazards? And do we have the proper accessibility? So we take all that into consideration when it comes to the code required inspections, and we make sure that we have everything that we need in order to provide the service to our customers.
No, Jeremy, one of the things that we talked about, and I know where you get a chance to implement advanced NDE services fairly regularly, is in association with more of a risk-based inspection approach. And just for the listeners here today and those that'll listen to it later, I think one of the most unique things is, as you progress into more advanced technology, the things that you'll begin to find is maybe it can actually put, to your last point there, it can put an opportunity in front of facility owners and people that are inspecting these assets. They can have the opportunity to inspect in a different way, where historically maybe they perform some conventional NDE and internal inspections of equipment while they're off stream. Now they can perform them on stream when they're with a more advanced technology, because you can see more, understand more without actually opening up the piece of equipment. So
yes,
I just think that's such a valuable piece to the puzzle. I wanted to make sure we highlighted that.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, so there's definite advantages. So with in-service inspections, we don't always have to wait for the equipment to be out of service to be able to perform inspections. We can work with our mechanical integrity groups, and we can perform some of the RBI and fit for service inspections that they require, whether the equipment is in service or out of service. We take that information, and it really helps in determining life expectancy and inspection intervals. So if a customer is currently on a 5-year inspection interval and we're able to perform an inspection while in service and get the appropriate data, we may be able to extend that inspection interval out. Or we may find that, hey, we need to take a look at this, and maybe we need to shorten it up. Maybe the life expectancy is different than what was anticipated. So we can take all that information and really help the customers out. And in the long run, it ends up being effective when it comes to cost savings, which is, typically something that everybody looks at, right? So generally what we do is we'll take all the data that's compiled. We work with the MI group, or we work with the PLI group, or we work with the customer. We share that data, make sure that, they've got everything that they need, and we're able to continue or they're able to continue operations. We can provide comprehensive analysis of any internal issues without having to make entry. That's a really big deal. A lot of time customers do not want to make entry into a vessel because of the confined space hazards that may be present. And we're able to do a lot of the inspection, the internal inspection from the outside of the vessel itself with advanced techniques. So the results are consistent and repeatable. So if you have a crew that goes out and does some inspections for you today, and you need to re-inspect a few years later, all the information is there in the report. The previous data is there, that they can repeat the exact inspection that was done previous. And that's a really big advantage to the advanced techniques. With conventional techniques, it becomes a lot of times a guessing game. With advanced techniques, you've got more reliability with the equipment, with traceability, with the data that you have. So,
and Jeremy, I think one of the questions that we have here, we have a lot of of our customer base is looking at providing in-service inspections. Maybe you just go through some of the things that you regularly use advanced methods and techniques to identify from an in-service perspective.
Certainly. So one of the big things that we do is inspection for corrosion. That's really big in a lot of the oil and gas industries, petrochemical industries, and we do a lot of corrosion surveys, whether it's internal or external. Each one of those would have a different method associated with how we would actually analyze the corrosion itself. Service-induced cracking is really big when it comes to welds and different types of pressure containing equipment. Touch point corrosion is something that's being looked at and is it's a more common inspection today. And there's several ways that you can look at touch point corrosion. HTHA is becoming really popular. The inspection techniques are difficult, but with the proper training, we can start detecting HTHA in some of the earlier stages than what we could previous with advanced techniques. Same thing goes for things like HIC and SOHIC, and then stress corrosion cracking. Stress corrosion cracking is a real big one on our PLI side, and we can use advanced eddy current techniques to detect stress corrosion cracking without having to remove coating. So there's a time savings and a cost savings there, as well as increased inspection times. So
yeah, I think that, just to say it again, just to make it a point, but as a company that also provides safety services for industry, can't emphasize this enough, that a lot of advanced NDT methods allow you to do these things on stream in service without opening up the asset, without emptying an asset, without taking it out of service. So not only does that keep you in operations and potentially present an opportunity to save from removing internal components and catalyst or whatever might be in these assets, but also the safety of the people that perform these inspections in your team in the process. So I just can't emphasize that enough as part of this equation when you look at it.
Absolutely. There is definitely a safety factor involved here. When you don't have to enter a confined space and worry about atmospheric hazards, there's definitely a safety factor here that comes into play, and it is definitely advantageous for customers to be able to utilize those services, not just for cost savings, but for safety reasons.
Yeah, Jeremy, our customers may not always know the best solution for their current needs, right? That they're in the business of operating their facilities and maintaining their facilities, and we're the specialists from a NDT and an advanced NDT perspective. How can our advanced NDT team assist our customers with determining the best approach?
So we will work closely with any of our customers or any customers from some of the other divisions within the company, and provide consultation services. If there is a critical inspection needed, but the customer doesn't necessarily know the right approach, we can look at what's being requested and come up with a good plan for the inspection process. Sometimes the customers may request an inspection on a certain component because it's something they may have done in the past, and we may recommend that we do something different because it may be a better method and it may be more reliable information that we get from that type of inspection. So, you know, a lot of times if we see that there's something that we can do for the customer that is different and is going to give us better results, we're going to recommend that. And in the case where the customer really doesn't know what they need, we will get involved, and you know, we can be involved from the planning stage all the way to the inspection stage. You know, regardless of what that timeline looks like, you know, we can assess every situation, evaluate what issues and concerns they have, and you know, provide them with a detailed inspection plan.
I think that just to make this broad statement, and you're a good example of this, Jeremy, in your role and in your overseeing the advanced division. But we want to be consultative. So if there's an example of you know, you don't know if something will work in a certain situation, we are happy to demo things and look at things for you and with you. You know, we always pride ourselves on being partners to our customers and not just simply a vendor who kind of goes out and does whatever we're told. We like to understand and identify if there's a better way, more cost-effective way, a more accurate way to identify the problems and the concerns that they might have.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
That's all for the content of what we plan to present, and I want to thank Jeremy for his insight. I know many people are wanting to understand more about just advanced NDT or NDE methods. We're going to take a moment to answer some of the questions that came through from our listeners today. So I'm going to grab that here, and first one I have pulled up here is, how do we stay up on current technology and continue to provide customers with the most up-to-date processes? So I guess this is asked from a perspective of how does Protect stay up on current technology and provide our customers with most up-to-date processes and techniques?
So, you know, obviously with advanced services, there's always changes and advancements in technology. So we try to stay up on all advancements, and we work directly with suppliers so that we can do so. We continually research new technologies and implement new practices as that technology advances. You know, we look at practical situations, and we look at new methods that may be available and new techniques that may be available. And we have the ability to evaluate those in a real life situation to see if the desired result that we're looking to achieve is actually achievable. You know, not every emerging technique or technology that is coming up is going to fit someone's needs. And not everything does, you know, what the manufacturers say it will do. So we have, you know, we really have to evaluate and test all the methods and make sure that we can give our customers what they need with the information that we gain. We continually work on training our technicians. A guy that got phased array training 5 years ago is going to require additional training so that he can be up on new instrumentation. Same goes for, you know, an AUT technician or an Eddy Current technician. So we continually train our technicians to make sure that they're up to date on the advancements in equipment, updated on the techniques and processes, so that we can provide the highest quality product and service.
Great. Another question I have here, Jeremy, is can you give an example of how we currently provide in-service inspections and any recent success example?
Yeah, certainly. So it wasn't too long ago, we were doing some in-service inspections. It was in a high-stress environment on some very cyclic equipment, and there were several issues that they had with service-induced cracking. In most cases, the equipment typically needs to be repaired, but there were a couple of areas with this equipment that they could not access, even during a shutdown. So what we needed to do was we needed to make sure that we did the proper inspection. So we were able to implement a monitoring program to ensure that there was no additional damage occurring until a replacement could be made. Essentially that's what ended up happening. So they continued to operate for about a 2-year period, and we were able to continue to monitor this until they could make a replacement. This allowed them to operate. They made the repairs that they could make, and the repairs they couldn't make, they waited until they absolutely needed to do so. If they wouldn't have been able to do that, it would have shut their process down for a pretty lengthy amount of time, because they weren't able to get a replacement or make a replacement on that particular part. So by implementing the monitoring program that we did, they were able to stay up and running. We were able to frequently monitor the progress of the indications, and when they were able to make a replacement, it was successful and it was quick. So
I think when you really step back and you think about the environment that a lot of industries in today, still with even a kind of a fluctuating supply chain, right? The ability for people to get some of these assets and replacement components in a quick fashion doesn't necessarily exist in a lot of cases anymore. So having this type of having really detailed inspection processes and procedures, and really monitoring this equipment closely and arguably in a much more detailed fashion, utilizing advanced methods, just makes all the sense in the world. And so I just to highlight that once again, I mean, that it's been exacerbated by through COVID and just the supply chain issues that everybody in industry has seen over that period of time, is just to make sure that your inspection processes are second to none.
Right.
So I don't. You have anything else, Jeremy? Or
no, that's it. That's unless there's any more questions, I think we've covered quite a bit.
I don't have any more that I'm showing here, so I just want to thank you all for joining us today. The recording of this webinar will be emailed to attendees, as well as posted to Protect's website and YouTube channel for you to share with your colleagues. If you'd like to have us visit your site or learn more about advanced inspection services for your company, please reach out to Jeremy. He is a subject matter expert. We're lucky to have him here at Protect, so please utilize him, reach out to him. You can reach out to myself or another Protect representative. Thanks for your time and have a good day.